this workshop, we're going to be sharing why we think digital storytelling is such a great tool for environmental activism. We're going to look at what it is, why it's so effective, and how to create great stop motion animation for yourselves. So let's get started. Human beings are great communicators. What sets us apart as a species is our ability to tell stories. In the olden times, these stories would have been told around a campfire, a way of learning from each other, passing on information, connecting, inspiring, and solving problems. Nowadays, with social media, it's never been easier to step up, to tell your stories, and to champion the causes you really care about. However, sometimes environmental issues can be difficult to grasp, whether that's due to the scale of global issues such as climate change or the plight of a non-human species that may live very differently to ourselves. And this is where creative work really starts to come into its own. Digital storytelling using animation is whimsical. It lightens those serious situations just enough to make them palatable. It activates our imagination and it absorbs the listener. Digital storytelling is an action you can take as an individual, whether you're not ready to take part in collective action or if you're just not inclined to do so. So it's a great tool for the eco-warrior introverts amongst us, and it also works really well as a collaborative endeavour. Stop motion animation is a technique that uses a series of shots, with each shot in the series being slightly different from the last. So when they're all viewed in a sequence, it gives the appearance of movement. Here's a short example. Possibilities with stop motion animation are endless, so you can really get innovative with it. There's lots of great stop motion apps that you can download to help create your animations. Some even have what's called an onion skin feature, where the previous shot is overlaid on the current one, so you can see the change and precisely plan your next shot. Google Photos even has an animation facility to pull photos together into a stop motion animation. Before we go further with how to do this, we're going to look at some things you might like to consider when designing your stories. First up, let's take a look at camera angles. The downshoot is the most commonly used angle for stop motion animation, as the flat surface removes any issues with keeping props upright, having to fight gravity, etc. Here is an example of downshoot animation. Straight ahead is the next most commonly used angle, and here's an example of that. Other angles you may like to consider include close-up, zoom in, worm's eye view, or over the shoulder. Over the shoulder is a great one to use if you want to show a certain character's unique perspective within your story. In terms of stop motion animation, the possibilities with regard to props, characters, and backgrounds are endless. There are so many great opportunities for innovation. Keep it short and punchy, with just enough content to inform without overloading the listener. Videos of no more than a few minutes work best on social media. The right music and sound effects can really support your story, adding embellishment or heightening emotion where it's needed, and helping the brain to transition through the narrative and to stay connected to the story. Think about accessibility, considering listeners with visual or auditory challenges. Do you need subtitles or a voiceover? A great visual combined with a great story and a clear call to action equals great animation activism. You want to leave your listener educated, inspired, and wanting to do more. Try to consider how to keep the listener's attention from beginning to end. Think of what barriers the listener might face to listening the whole way through and try to overcome those. A strong start to your story is vital, as your listeners will make a decision within the first few seconds as to whether or not they'll continue watching. Your opener should draw the listener in, absorb them in your story, and activate their imagination. You might want to ask a strong question at the beginning that you will answer through your video. Think about how you want to present the problem, to pitch the problem at the right level for your audience. We're not all scientists, but we don't need to be to grasp the concepts and the problems and to take action on them. So think about pitching the information you present to your audience to make it inclusive and to make sure that people don't switch off because they don't understand. How can you use your unique voice, and how do you use your emotion as part of your content? Really serious issues can be brought alive in a personal and powerful way, connecting the audience to the story. So your unique combination of passion, skills, knowledge, and ideas brings something completely unique to the table. No one else has the exact combination of those things that you do. So never underestimate your influence, the impact that your unique voice can have on other people. Will you be the spark that gives someone else that light bulb moment, that aha moment where they suddenly see a problem or a solution with laser sharp clarity and are motivated to act on it? Seeing another person's passion is really infectious and can really help others to shift to a different mindset. So now we're going to consider endings. You'll initially present the problem, including the facts, figures, and the scale of the problem, but you also need a resolution at the end. What are the opportunities within this problem that you're presenting? How can we, as a listener, transform the situation? What would it look like if this problem was solved? And what would it look like if you, the listener, were to take action? Think about how the listener is going to feel at the end of your video and how you want them to feel. Are they leaving feeling empowered? Without any sense of hope, the listener can become despondent and walk away from the problem. We can lose our audience and leave them feeling powerless. We need to empower the listener with solutions, small, medium, and large, whilst acknowledging our differences in our ability to act, whether that's through time available, various personal circumstances, ability, etc. So in communications and marketing circles, we refer to this type of ending as a call to action. So it's important to offer different calls to action. You might like to consider including the option of joining an existing, well-established and relevant campaign if such a thing is available. We should never underestimate the power of those little commitments, or what we like to refer to as atomic actions. And we should always give options for small steps. Think about what calls to action you will include and keep them concise. So once you've considered these aspects, it's time to put your story together. Let's talk about using a storyboard. A storyboard is a visual representation using drawings or illustrations to map out the flow of your animation. It's a great way to break down each scene, to get clear on what you want out of each scene, and to communicate that clearly with others who may be involved in the production process. For each shot on your storyboard, you can include a shot number or a label, plus a sketch showing composition, a written description of the shot, the who, what, where of the shot, and the general feel, including lighting, music, or other sound effects. You can download a storyboard app, or you can keep it really simple, like in our previous example. Now we're ready to look at stop motion animation. So how do you create your own DIY stop motion animation? We've created this short video to show you how easy it can be to create stop motion animations in your own home with very little kit.
Here's a short stop-motion film we made to show the underground life of a badger. Badgers live in underground setts, and their tunnels can be up to half a mile long. They sleep in chambers and are very clean animals, bringing back fresh bedding regularly. Badgers delay their implantation so they can have their babies at a better time of year. This is normally around February time.
So we hope you've enjoyed this short workshop on animation activism, and we hope that it's convinced you that stop motion animation is a really effective and fun medium for your awareness raising and activism.